So the wuwa 3.5 update just came out, which I was super hyped about. The graphics were so insanely pretty and the music was just amazing. Sadly, I only got as far as my computer allowed me before it crashed. Anyways, while playing, I happened to notice some issues with the game that I've been seeing in recent patches that haven't gone away, which is what I want to cover in today's video. Just to be clear, I think wuwa is an awesome game that has a team that actually cares and improves with time, but I wanted to speak up about some things I noticed that I believe could be improved, specifically the dialogue and the logic in wuwa. The cohesion and logic of the storytelling in Wuthering Waves have literally gone to the galaxies in terms of improvement, but there's still some strange moments where they choose to include a scene because they want to in a way that doesn't really make sense. Here's an example. After teaming up with Sui Sui to find Yang Yang, they're eager to set off immediately since Yang Yang's life is potentially in danger. But first, Rover decides to check up on the gravely injured Chixia before leaving, while Sui Sui, I assume, just waits outside for her to finish. After Rover comes out, Sui Sui seems just too calm for someone who earlier lost their temper after not being able to ask Jinhee's earlier about her missing sister Yang Yang. But maybe she just doesn't want to stir up a fuss after gaining a potential solution to find Yang Yang, or maybe it's just not in the budget to make other expressions. Okay, I can see that, but then there's this. So basically, Sui Sui starts to reminisce and then she stops herself since time is of the essence. But then Rover comforts her a little and she just decides to reminisce right after deciding it was a waste of time. The moment doesn't really hit very hard because of it, and it sounds like she's just talking for the sake of it, even though I know she's not. I also noticed this happening during the scene where Chixia and Yang Yang were talking together while investigating what was happening at Xuanfeng, although it didn't annoy me as much since there wasn't a random 180 in their decision making.
I was just killing time. Didn't expect to get hooked. Ended up carrying her through a few levels. Next thing you know, we're chums. Gotta say, prefer co-op to the solo grind. Won't know till we try. Whatever. Chrome maintenance is important. Should focus on getting patched up first.
Hacking that felt easier than usual. Got something to do with this tattoo? Whole interface feels different. Must have jumped to a new domain. Better take my time looking around. Maybe this is all a brain dance, a simulation? No, not getting any trace of a BD wreath. Can't get a line to Misty or the net either. Not even a ping. Encryption's weak. Should try cracking it.
You hear that? Like, what? Did Kuro have a word limit with the Cyberpunk collab? Because for some reason there were just so many lines in the collab that sounded like the writers tried to make them as short as possible, and technically there's nothing wrong with these sentences since the subject is implied, but when you hear them over and over again, one right after the other, it sounds really unnatural, which kind of took me out of the experience. The ending still hit me really hard, though I didn't see this being as big of an issue in the main story quests, but it was still there occasionally, and I'm happy to say that I'm noticing it less. Overall, the dialogue in wuwa has gotten way better since the beginning, and it's in the recent patches that we've gotten less mindless rover glazing, which is super cool. And as you might have noticed, English is not wuwa's first language.
You're all here.
Ah, our golden girl. I knew everyone would want to see you off, so I rounded up whoever I could.
This isn't some sad, teary goodbye forever moment. Have a good time here at the academy with us, yeah?
If there's one thing I'll take away from my time here, it's all of you.
Happy graduation, senior. Happy graduation!
Everyone, thank you.
Something that stands out to me more is that, in general, the dialogue sounds a bit off, and I'm 99% sure it's because the game is translated from Chinese to English, which are two pretty different languages, so naturally it can be hard to capture the full meaning of the dialogue and put it in another language. But I'm not saying that the translations are bad. The translations for wuwa are like a net fine. Some moments are crazy good, but others are just They can be unpolished and strangely discontinuous at times. Like, you'll be enjoying the most fire storytelling and dialogues you've ever seen, and then you're shoved into awkward land, since the translation just starts sounding off. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, it can be hard to translate meanings across Chinese and English, but there are so many scenes that just that much more tweaking and editing, and it'd sound way better. Like if Kuro could just get someone to check over the final translations, they'd be so good. And that is it for this video. Thank you. Bye.